Welcome, everyone. This is our Thursday morning production call, and we got a great one lined up for y'all today. Back to the basics. I always love to talk about, right, just making sure we get the most out of this call. Highly recommend you have a pen and notepad out so you can take some notes. This is an hour-long call. You ain't going to remember everything that we talk about, so take plenty of notes. And then super important to say this. Today, we're going to talk about the 10 steps of having higher or the highest close rate possible. So this one's really good. Um, Super important to say this. Don't go out and change your entire appointment, right? Or the way you run an appointment. Just grab a couple of notes. Our best suggestion is always grab three things and start applying that to your appointment, right? You're already helping families, you're already doing it. No need to change your entire process. But if you see or you hear something like, hey, I'm not doing that, I think that'll help me a lot, right? Start applying that to your business today. And then if it does help you help another family, if you could post that in band, we are a big community in the Cook hierarchy, and it does help other agencies, right? If you grab some tips or whatever it may be, and it helped you help a family, if you can post that on band and what it was, it does help other agents. So if y'all can do that, we humbly ask you do. And so we'll get started. Right. So the 10 steps for the highest close rate possible. We're going to go through all 10 of them, and then we'll kind of break them down as well. And again, right, think of this, right? This is the way you should run a perfect appointment. Okay. And every time you miss one of these things, your close rate is going down. Okay. And look, I'm not the best agent, right? But I can tell you honestly, right? Sometimes I don't hit every single one. And every time I miss one or I start missing several, right, I'm starting to get more think about it. I'm not getting right either the all four policies like we should get, or I just get straight up no, right? So just always think of this, right? Every single time. So I'm going to have y'all write down all 10 things first, and then we'll kind of break them all down. But just realize every single time you miss a single one of these, you are hurting your close rate, right? Because the way you should feel after an appointment is, I always joke around about it, but you should be blown away that the client said no, right? Or that it's just not something they're going to move forward with. That's the feeling you're supposed to have, right? Because not everyone's going to say yes. Your job is just to run the best appointment possible, right? So you're supposed to feel like, oh my God, I can't believe, Amber, they said no. But you should know things like this. Like it's crazy, Brooke. They told me no, but they're only right between both of them. They're bringing in $7,000, right? Their total expenses are $5,000, and the spouse is only bringing in 1,500. And in their savings account, there's only $3,000, Brooke, right? Like they don't have a month's worth of payments in her bank account. They have no life insurance. Like there's just no way she would be able to stay in the home if he passes away. That's how you should feel. You should be like, oh my God, I can't believe they said no. That means you did the best job that you can in your appointment. And guess what? Not everyone's going to say yes, right? Not everyone's going to find the value in it. Sometimes it's going to be out of their price range in their head, even though you've broken down the budget, right? You should never at the end of an appointment hear oh, we need to think about it. We need to see if it's in our budget, right? How many of y'all have ever heard that? We need to see if it's in our budget. If you've ever heard that, you probably didn't break down their budget correctly, right? Because if they ever tell us that after options, we're like, well, Amber, I mean, based on, right, we did go through your budget. You have $2,000 left over. You're putting $500 in your savings account, right? Did we miss something in your budget? Because according to your budget, there's plenty of room. Is there something else that's making you think, right? Well, you know what? I just don't see the value in it. Great, right? I don't, not everyone's going to say yes, right? That's why we have a 50% close rate. That means out of the people you sit with, half of them are going to say yes, right? That may increase as you fine tune your skill, right? But that just means not everyone's going to say yes, even though you can get them qualified. Again, though, I just love to talk about that because you should feel like blown away after appointment, right? That's how you know you ran a really good appointment. And I also like to talk about things that when you do hear, right, things like, hey, we need to think about it. We need to look at our budget. Um, let me make sure, let me get with my spouse, right? Those are indicators you're not running proper appointments, right? Because you're running one-legged appointments. You didn't break down their budget. You don't know how much they're saving, right? You didn't hit all 10 of these things that we're going to talk about. And so we're going to get into it. I'm going to go through all 10. Like I said, leave some space in between all of them because we're gonna dig into some notes. But I love to give you all 10 so we can have a really good expectation. So number one, highest close rate possible is running a Zoom appointment. So making sure you are booking a Zoom appointment. Okay. And we're going to dig into all these, right? That's number one. Number two is building rapport. Building rapport. Number three, the other role and purpose. So the other role and purpose. And then number four is going to be the real script. And Amber, if you want to type all these in the chat, that'd be awesome. So number four is the real script. Number five is the FIF inside the appointment, right? The financial information form inside the appointment. Number six is drawing emotion, asking really good questions. Number seven is going to be visually showing them their options. People got to see it. They ain't going to remember. So visually showing them their options. And then number eight is assuming the sale / calling your upline. And then number nine is locking it down. And number 10 is the 5 R's. Number 10 is the 5 R's at the very end. I think this is one of my favorite ones ever. I like this one. Makes me check my appointment. Now I'm gonna run my appointments today, and I'm like, am I doing all these?
I know, same here. I'm gonna be like, all right, I did this. Cool.
Right? I love it. I love it. So number one, booking a Zoom appointment. Okay. Look, I love to give everybody stories and results, right? I came from when I started 7 years ago, I was running appointments in person, kneecap to kneecap, face to face, drinking plenty of coffee, and just enjoying the actual in-person appointment. When we went virtual, it was the hardest thing for me to do because it was me, right? I could not book a Zoom appointment. I was only booking phone appointments. Me and James tried it for like 4 months and we were failing horribly. I was like, I'm gonna go broke. This industry is over for me, Amber. I'm gonna have to go back to we're gonna have to go back to being dentist idea again, James. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that one out. But we could not book a Zoom appointment for the life of us. And I'm gonna give y'all a couple of tips of what changed for us and how we did it. One, thank you for Mr. Elijah Carujo, him and another one of our buddies. They led the charge in Symmetry of running Zoom appointments and going virtual. So thank you for them. I did a lot of calls to them and asking them how, and I just discovered I was the problem member, right? So I'm going to give you all the main reason. I made all these excuses for clients before they even gave me an excuse. I would look at a lead, make it, and I was like, oh, they're 72. They can't use Zoom, right? Like I was like, oh my God, it's an 80-year-old. They're not going to be able to get on Zoom. Not most folks don't like that. No one's going to have, right? No one has a computer. They're only going to have their phone. I was making up all these things for everyone before I even tried to book an appointment. So I was going into dialing already assuming, Micah, that I'm not booking Zoom appointments. That was my very first mistake, right? So if that is in your mind, you need to throw it away, right? Because I love facts, and not until I heard this one time, I think Chris, yeah, I was getting a hold of Chris Cook, and I was like, dude, I'm failing. He goes, Joe, what are you talking about? You're one of our top producers. I'm like, well, dude, no, I can't sell anything online. This is crazy. And he goes, so he put me in contact with Mr. Ben Safepour, if y'all know him. And he was just like, he goes, Joe, you realize everyone has now pivoted to Zoom? So I love to tell everybody this in case you don't know, and you think people don't jump on Zoom. Everyone has pivoted to Zoom now, the whole world, because of
Especially in the
COVID.
last 5 years.
Yeah, because of COVID, everyone has pivoted to Zoom, right? Or some kind of video call. All these folks that I used to give excuses for before they even told me, right? Because their age, because maybe they're older, whatever it may be, they're all on Zoom running doctor's appointments, eye doctor appointments. Like that's just the way business is done now. So if you think Zoom is a problem, you're the problem. I promise you. That just like I was. All my appointments now, every single one of them is done on Zoom. Do I have a few appointments over the phone? Yes, but it's just them being stubborn, right? I can't change that person. But it's like 1 out of 20.
Yeah.
Okay, it is like 1 out of 20 that I would have to run right. And usually I love this little trick too. James taught me. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll do it over the phone. And then I call them on the phone and I'm like, hey, I just text you a Zoom link. Can you go ahead and click on that? And they're magically jumping on Zoom as well.
Yeah.
Right. Again,
And
it was
for a
just
lot
an
of
excuse.
for a lot of people, right? Like if they tell you, "Oh, I've never used Zoom or it's going to be difficult," it's probably something that you said that made it sound difficult. So when you're booking your appointment, just say, "Hey, it's super user friendly. You'll just click the link and we'll be able to see each other."
Yep. And Zoom is just one way, right? Like then this dude Ben tells me this great thing. He goes, "What, you can just FaceTime them, right? You can just do a video call. Like there's all kinds of routes, right? Like everyone also FaceTimes, right? Like everyone does these things. Messenger, like there's all kinds of video chats. That's all this is, right? This is just a video chat with a client. It's just so that they can
Go,
see your
Bubba.
facial expressions. It's just so that you can communicate better with them,
No.
right? So let's hit on. So once I got past that idea, okay, everyone's on Zoom, everyone does a video call. That's no longer my problem. Then my problem was I was still asking permission. Okay. So right now, if you are dialing and you're like, hey, Amber, thanks for, so it looks like 7 o'clock tomorrow is going to work for you. Amber, would you like to do that over the phone or over Zoom? They're all going to say over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them. Every single person. So stop asking for permission. Okay. You do business via Zoom. We are licensed professional agents, right? You have to put your eyes on them. You need their facial expressions. They need to see your energy. They need to see you working and explaining coverage. Okay. You do business via Zoom. So stop asking for permission. So great ways that I have gotten through or past that now, right? Is one, I don't tell them up front, right? While I'm booking the appointment, I'm locking it down. Hey, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, Amber, that's going to be a great time. Great. And then that's a good time for you and your spouse, correct? Yes. Okay, awesome. Hey, what's that email address for you so I can send you the appointment confirmation? Then I'm getting the email, right? Once she gives me that email, hey, Amber, can you go ahead and look at that email? She's clicking it open, right? And I give her time, right? Because you want to book an appointment in about 5 to 6 minutes. If you're doing it in less than a minute or two, that's too fast. Slow down. Let them open the email. Hey, I just sent you that email. Amber, can you check your email and see? I just want to make sure it didn't go to spam.
Got it.
Perfect. Now you see that link right there where it says Zoom tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I just need you to click that, and then I'll be able to share my screen. Then I'll be able to go over options for you. Does that work great?
Sounds good.
That simple. That's how you book a Zoom appointment every single time. I'm not asking for permission. I'm letting them know what the process is to do business with me. Right? When I stopped asking for, do you want to do it? Or it's magic. I just stopped asking, and all of a sudden, every single one of my appointments was Zoom, Brooke. Right? And we pushed so hard back. Me and James, it was hilarious. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, that's it. I just was asking for it. That's pretty much it, right? And a little trick that I learned, right, is I get the email first, right? Again, people that realize it's just their job to make it a little bit tougher for us. You be okay with that, right? So if I said, hey, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, Amber, that's going to work for you? Yes, great. Hey, I'm going to send you a Zoom link. They're instantly going to say, right, what's the email address for you, Amber? They're going all of a sudden they don't have an email.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving y'all my experience, right? So I don't tell them I'm going to send them a Zoom link first. I get the email first. Hey, tomorrow, 3 o'clock, that works great. Hey, what's a good email to send you my appointment confirmation and my personal license and all my information? I get the email. Great. Open that up. Perfect. There's a link in there. That's going to be our Zoom. I'll be able to share my screen so I can show you your options. Every single time works like a charm, right? So just I think those are the two biggest tips I can give you, Amber, James. I don't know if y'all have any, right? But just I get the email first to send them the email. Then I tell them there's going to be a Zoom link involved, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way we do business. And then also when they do tell me, right? Because then sometimes they'll kick it back, and it's actually I've learned that this helps me so much because they're like, well, I'm going to be driving, right? Or I'm like, great. I'm glad you told me that because we can't run an appointment while you're driving. So let's go ahead and change that. When is a good time for you to be home? Because we're going to run this over Zoom so I can share my screen. And when's a good time for both of you to be home? In fact, that just happened to me yesterday. So my 7 p.m. yesterday had to move over to today because of that reason. He was like, no, I was going to be driving. I'm like, well, that's not going to work, right? We can't run a Zoom appointment while you're driving. You shouldn't be running an appointment while they're driving, period, right? And so that was a great, right? And guess what? He sent me my appointment confirmation already for today, right? So it's a great tool to make sure too they are home, because I love to also prep on what they're experiencing when it's a Zoom appointment. When it's a Zoom appointment, they're also making sure their house is okay. See, when I went to in person, they would clean up the living room, right, in the dining room, because they knew we were going to go show up in person. So they even made sure they were prepared for it. Realize there's power in the Zoom appointment for that too, because they're also preparing for you, right? Because they don't want a crazy background. So they're making sure they can hop on there, right? Like sometimes I see them hop into our links about 2 hours or 3 hours before, right? And that's just letting me know that they're getting ready for our appointment. So those are the coolest little emails I get sometimes, like, hey, this client jumped into your Zoom room, right, for the appointment. And I know it's like in 2 hours. I don't call them, I don't do anything. That's just letting you know that they're preparing, right, for them to see what their background is going to look like. So those are really cool little indicators when you're booking a Zoom appointment. James, Amber, I don't know if y'all have anything else on that.
Yeah, no, that's it. Just maintain the posture, right? You're the professional. You run appointments on Zoom.
Right. And we give you all our numbers. When James and I were running on in the or phone appointments in the phone appointments, we were closing at a 30%. Our close rate was 30%. Still great. It was 30% over the phone. When we moved to completely Zoom, 60 plus. So that alone, that doubles your income. Running a Zoom appointment doubles your income. It took us to 60% plus. So you can push back all you want. I'm telling y'all, if y'all are running Zoom appointments, you are leaving half of your income on the table. And it's just a you thing, I promise you, right? They can run a Zoom appointment and take it professional, right? Make sure it's very simple. Get to a wall, right? Create, right? All this stuff is like from the Dollar General. I found an SFG, right? The M for Martinez Agency. And I just put, that's a dollar frame somewhere that way, wrong hand, right? That's a dollar frame. And I put my license in it. And that's it. Keep it super simple, right? I like real backgrounds. I don't personally like fake backgrounds because when you move, right, it looks like they don't know where you're at. They want to see yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. No, the day before yesterday, I was running an appointment and my kid was running around because they dropped them off. And here in my office, my kid was running around, but so was my client's kid, right? And they love that stuff, right? They were like, oh, is that your son? Yep, we got to take him to karate in a little bit. Do not be embarrassed of this stuff. This lets them know you are a real person. Your dogs, right? If you have pets, those are also great tools to help build rapport. So do not be embarrassed. This is a different world, right? Before it was like I had to go so professional and go sit in person. That is not anymore. They love to make sure you're a real human. So I prefer no fake backgrounds, right? Do what you want. I'm just telling y'all, highest close rates. They want to see you're a real person. They love your background. Sometimes we run appointments and we're like in different places in a hotel, right? Because we are really pushing, you can do this business from anywhere, right? Sometimes we're in Mexico on the beach and I'm running an appointment from my hotel balcony. They absolutely love that. Take advantage of that. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, insurance sales. I'm one of their best producers. I help a ton of families. So they have me down here in Tamarindo, Mexico, and I was writing applications. I wrote $10,000 on the beach. And my clients love that. So take advantage of stuff like that. When you're visiting your mom, when you're doing all kinds of stuff, they love to know, right? What was it? 2 weeks ago, I was running appointments for my sister's house in California. And I use that every single time. I'm like, yep, today I'm at my sister's house normally. And they're like, oh my God, that's super cool. Thank you for taking time out of your vacation, Joe, and sitting with us. I'm like, absolutely. They give me a whole bunch of families. I want to make sure I take care of y'all. They eat that stuff up. Be a real person for them. And again, right, leverage Zoom on for your advantage. So I hope that helps everyone with booking Zoom appointments. I'm just telling you, don't run phone appointments. It's crazy. Like you are hurting yourself in the close rate. The next one, right? So number 2, we're going to dig into building rapport. This is super easy, right? You need to be able to build rapport. And the best thing I can tell you is whatever you know about a client, they should know about you. Right? Think of that. If you're making a best friend and you're doing it in 10 minutes, no more than 10 minutes. You should not build rapport more than 10 minutes. That should be your timer, right? Another great little tip for rapport is you need to ask more than 7 questions. Okay? Ideally, you want to push about 15, but you got to get past 7. And there's a lot of science by 7. And James, me and you do this so well, right? Because in between the first 7, you get very short answers, and they're not the friendliest yet, right? You have to get them talking, right? So how many of y'all have asked a question and they're very short? Okay, yeah, from here, right? So I'm going to give y'all, right? Me and James are really good at this because we get this a lot, right? So we're going to go through why 7 questions they start talking, right? When you've built rapport, when they're talking more than you, right? Versus just giving you a very short answer, right? And James, me and him are going to go back and forth, right? So, hey, James, thanks for hopping on. And it looks like I have you here and it looks like Bullhead City, Arizona. Is that right?
Yes.
Sweet. Awesome. Awesome. Where did you move from?
From Texas.
So short. That's it. Okay. Awesome. And what brought you from Texas to Bullhead City?
Family.
Ain't it so awkward, right? Because you don't know them and that's it. They give you one word, family. It's still weird, right? So, okay, sweet. I'm gonna give back. Well, me too. I'm originally from Texas too. That's weird, right? I'm from San Antonio. I actually moved out here about 18 years ago. And the cool part is my family actually followed me as well. Did any of your family come with you?
I was actually the last one. Everybody's already moved over there, so kind of moving forward.
See, he's talking a little bit more. Sweet. And so what do you do for work? Did you change jobs too?
Yeah, so career change and closer to family, a little more remote, to be able to be flexible.
Nice, nice. And was it a big change? I came from Texas, so I love that I got away from the humidity.
Yeah, traffic too. It was a
Oh my
long one
God.
though, 30 hours.
Right, dude. In Texas, traffic was insane. I feel you. So, is there traffic where you live now?
No, I'm in a small town now. So
Sweet,
close by work, so everything's a 5-minute commute, so pretty close.
awesome. Do you have any more family still in Texas?
Yeah, just my uncle's family, all my immediate family's here now, so
Nice. But y'all see that transition? You have to get past those 7 questions so that they can start talking more, right? Because at first, and a lot of us stop building rapport because we get that, oh, why'd you move here, family? right? Or you give them the, hey, man, I got beautiful weather over here today. How's yours? Good, right? And we feel that awkwardness, so we actually stop building rapport, right? Because you go about 3 or 4 or even 5 questions and they're still giving you very short answers. You got to keep going. Usually by the seventh question, they're talking way more versus you just asking a question, right? But if they don't pass 7, you keep going, right? Like you keep going until they're talking and they're releasing information. And then one of my biggest thing I love to say, right, is make sure you're making deposits before you're making withdrawals, right? So if you're asking them about their family, right, make sure you have given stuff about your family. Everything that you know off of your appointment, you should know off of them. Why they moved here, they should know why you moved where you moved, right? Who moved with them, their family. They should know that about you. If you're asking them if they have kids, you should know how many kids they have. You should know what their names are. How old are they, right? So when I'm running an appointment, I'm like, okay, James, and you have kids?
Yes, I have one.
Nice. What's his name?
Junior.
Nice, nice. I got a junior too. I actually got 4 kids. So I got two
Four
12,
juniors.
I don't have 4 juniors, but I got 2 12-year-olds, a 10 and a 6, and then my first boy, he's a junior as well. And then so how old was yours?
19.
Nice, right? But you see that little transaction? I know everything he knows everything about me that I know about him. If I'm asking him how long ago did he move, I'm also going to give that information. So when I get off of an appointment in the report, and you got to do this in 10 minutes, so it's fast, right? But when I'm building rapport, they know I have 4 kids. They know I live in Little Town Bullhead City. They know my kids and I love to go kayaking, that we got little side by side, that I used to run restaurants. They know absolutely everything about me, and I know everything about them.
Think of
Because
it
that
as
rapport is super important. Go.
I would say you have to just let them think of it like speed dating. You got to know everything about them. Hey,
E-dating.
so hey, my hobbies are this, and you got to give deposits before anything. So you want to get to know them, what they do, what they like. You got to break that ice because the first minute or so they're kind of gauging you. Like, do I like this guy? Do I trust him? Their walls up. So you need to do whatever it takes, find something that relates to them, whether it's kids. Hey, a lot of people, hey, I got my grandkids, oh yeah, my nephews, they could be a handful, they're crazy. Whatever I could, I have stuff over here. If I get somebody that likes hunting, hiking, whatever it is, find that hobby, something to build that ice within that first couple minutes there and drop that ice and or that wall barrier and you'll know once they start talking.
Yep. Yep. And I love to, if you've never heard of the term called the gift of gab, look it up. I'm gonna give you all that homework. The gift of gab. Okay.
The gift of gab. You're talking.
My phone picked that up. You heard? So if you've never heard of the gift of gab, go learn it, right? It's basically having just a lot of general information of what's going on, right? Like if there was a presidential election, if right now we're in the playoffs in the NBA, right? Baseball just started. If there's race cars, if what the weathers look like, if there's hurricanes, tornadoes, right? So like in the restaurant business, especially for bartenders, because we have a position like a bartender when we used to. I reference it a lot to the restaurant world, right? Because see, the server had it easy. The server would walk to your table and then they would have a conversation with you. And then if the client got a little feisty, the cool part about the servers, they were able to walk away, right? They go back to the kitchen. The bartender does not have that ability. The bartender has to stay in front of his clients the entire hour and a half service or whatever it may be. We have that same thing here, right? So what that means is you got to have conversation. It is the weirdest thing. So a lot of people, single or one person, goes to the bar versus going to a table because they don't want to be by themselves, right? They actually want conversation. And it's the same thing with us. There's one person in front of you or the couples in front of you, right? They want conversation. They don't just want all insurance talk. They want to know if they like you and they feel comfortable, right? So you got to have the gift of gab. Just make sure you have plenty of topics to talk about, right? The cool part is you know where you're running your leads. You should know that city, know something about it, right? Like I'm running New Mexico. I know there's Carlsbad, the Carlsbad Caverns. They got some cool little caves. So anytime literally every single time I run a New Mexico appointment, I'm talking about the Carlsbad Caverns. And I'm like, that's one place I want to go. They're like, you should. Everyone literally, in fact, I know a lot about it now, Amber, because I always bring that up. So they're like, yeah, it's always about 15 degrees cooler down there. Like they tell me all kinds of stuff. I'm almost an expert at this point, and I've never been, because all my clients give me all this cool information about it. So wherever you're running appointments, right? Because now we're doing it all kinds of cities and states, you know something about that area so that you can relate, right? You got to have that gift of gab and have some good conversation when you're building rapport. And then one of my favorite things to hear once I've known I've built plenty of rapport. So my little trick was, or my joke inside my head was, when I heard this sentence, I was writing that client. And that sentence for me was they were talking actually, and they were telling me something about their family or whatever, maybe a joke, whatever. And then Brittany, I would hear, oh my God, I'm sorry, Joe. We were supposed to be talking about something else, right? I know. I don't want to. I'm sorry, Joe. We were supposed to do insurance, right? I'm like, no, you're good. But I do cut them off, right? Because that's right. No more than 10 minutes. No, you're good. Let me be respectful of your time too, Brittany, and let me go over what I do today, right? And then I go into my appointment. But when every single time, literally every single time I hear, oh my God, Joe, I'm sorry, we've been talking so long, and I totally forgot we're supposed to be doing insurance. That means they had so much, they felt so comfortable, they forgot they were just talking to a friend, right? So that if you ever hear that, I'm telling you, you should get super excited. Every time I hear that, Micah, it's gold. That means their walls are down. They were comfortable, because usually they're talking for like 2 or 3 minutes at this point. They're telling me about their kids, why they moved, or they're just rambling about their job and how much they hate, well, like whatever it is, right? But then they're like, oh my God, I'm sorry, Joe. We were supposed to be doing insurance. I'm like, sweet. I'm like, you're good, right? That's a great indicator of rapport. Again, make sure you're going through more than 7 questions for sure, right? And then no more than 10 minutes. You don't need more than 10 minutes. As long as you do it properly, you don't need more than 10 minutes. And then the only thing I'll add for rapport building is make sure the questions you're asking to are also calculated, very intentional, right? The reason we dig into where did they move from, where did any of their family come with them, is we want to know if they move from Wisconsin down to Arizona, do you still have kids in Wisconsin? Who's going to be the beneficiary? Did anyone move with you here? Who else is in the home? Right? Like we're actually getting information we're going to need inside of the appointment, and we're just sharing information and building rapport at the same time, right? So also make sure they're calculated stuff. How old are their kids? What are their names? Right? What do they do for work? Right? This is all great information. Did they still have a house back where they live, or did they sell it and come over here? Right? Like all this is really good information, because you're gonna need it inside of the appointment. So
And an acronym I dropped in the chat too, right? Just to keep yourself on track for building rapport before them: family, occupation, recreation. Ask about those 3 things and ask a bunch of questions about them. People don't care how much they know until they know how much you care. So ask about them, and don't just stop the rapport at the beginning, right? When you're going through the questions, like the health questions, the financial form, still build some rapport there too, right? Because that helps build that relationship stronger.
That's good, right? So the rapport building at the beginning, right? No more than 10 minutes. But once you get into the appointment, you're building rapport throughout the entire thing based on information you've gotten, right? Like you never stop, right? Because if y'all have ever, especially when you get a yes and you're writing an application, does it ever get awkwardly weird, right? Because you're over here typing and you're focused on the application. That's where the rapport keeps coming out, right? Because I remember all their stuff, where I take a lot of notes. Every time I run an appointment, so this is like a prepped appointment for me. I have notes on everything they're telling me, kids and stuff, right? And I go, right, so I'll dig into, right? So the 12-year-old, what grade are they in? Well, I'm over here filling out the application, right? Like the rapport building I know everything about my clients by the time we get off our appointment, and the client knows everything about me. Literally, they know I've been divorced, I got back together. Like they know everything, how long we've been back together, our kids. I mean, I don't hold anything back because I don't expect them to. right? So you shouldn't either. You should be, these are, I had 3 chargebacks last year. I want y'all to think about that in insurance world. I had 3 chargebacks last year. I don't get very many. My clients trust me, love me, and they know everything about me. When my phone rings and I know it's a client, have you ever felt like I don't want to answer that because they want to cancel their policy? You're not doing a good job on your appointment. I pick up that phone because it's usually they want to make sure their bank changed, or they want to make sure the policy's still in place, or they have a referral for me. I am not afraid to pick up the phone when my client calls after appointment. If you are, just do a better job in your appointment. You should never feel that, right? Like I am not scared when my client calls because it's usually good. They want more coverage. They're ready for more, whatever it may be. And then on rapport building, the recreation, Amber, I love that you hit on that. That's super important too, because realize if they ride motorcycle, you need to know, right? If they do hiking, anything, any extra activity, right? That's not normal. That's a little more dangerous. That's going to leverage you, right? When you're showing them the 4 policies and the accidental packages, right? Because anyone that drives truck, anyone that drives motorcycle, anyone that does side-by-sides like we do in Arizona, rides jet skis, anything like that. I'm like, oh, hey, remember that jet ski? That's exactly why I have this. And I tell them, right? And I sell a ton of accidentals because of that in almost every single home, because I know what they do. And usually the wife is like, yeah. He doesn't get off his Harley. He definitely needs that accidental. They take care of themselves based on rapport building, right? Because I know this about the client. So we're going to move on to the other one. I love to talk about the transition.
Joe, can I jump in with a question?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Occasionally you hit clients that are kind of on the other side of things where they don't stop talking, and it's not right. It doesn't seem to be good rapport building topics. Like you ask them a question and it's a 5-minute runaround, and you finally have to ask the question again because they forgot what they were asking in the first place. And you let them talk, you spend an hour and a half with them, and it seems like 9 times out of 10, you never write that up anyway. What are some tips to help steer those in the right direction?
Again, have your questions. I would, at the very beginning, I would have these questions written down, right? Like don't wing it, right? Don't practice on the client. Have these questions written down. Here's the crazy part. One time me and James were like, oh my God, we need to have all these great questions filled out. Does anyone know where questions are right now? They're in the real script. In case you haven't pulled out the real script, there's already rapport building questions in the real script. One time me and James spent like 2 weeks going to hunt down all these great, and then we pulled out the real script and I'm like, oh my God, what a waste of time. There's rapport questions in the real script. So make sure you have that puppy out. It's 8 pages long. You're 8 pages away from 100K. I promise you, right? So make sure they're there, but have them planned, right? Right. I think the acronym, what's the acronym? Is it FORD or something like that, right? Family, occupation, recreation, and something, right? But there's stuff out there, but have your 7 questions and have them based off of what you like, right? Or again, cities, states, wherever they're at, but I would have a good 15, 10 questions that you love, right? I dig into family because guess what? I got family. I get to leverage my kids and stuff like that, right? Amber's really good at asking if they have any pets, right? Because she has pets and she instantly gets to go to build that, right? You just find your niche, right? I think David is really good at like sports stuff because he likes sports and he has sports in his background, right? So leverage what's going to work for you, but have them planned, right? So that's how you keep control, Nate, right? Just make sure you have a good 10 questions written down, and that way you're just coming down the chain, right? And you're not losing control of the appointment, because remember, you got to cut it off at 10 minutes because you need to run a 30-minute appointment and get a yes or a no. So by the 10-minute mark, right, you need to be like, hey, Micah, wherever they're at in the conversation, hey, Micah, I just want to make sure I'm respectful of your time, and I do got another appointment after this. So let me go into my role and purpose, right? So once you're ready and you're going into it, and sometimes rapport takes 5 minutes. I can have them laughing and loving me in 5 minutes because, again, I'm giving them information about me, and we're really good at continuing rapport. We don't stop, right? So once we're there, it's like, hey, Amber, I want to be respectful of your time. Let me go into my role and purpose. And that's literally what you say. Let me go into my role and purpose. Okay. And remember, I had y'all write this down for number 3. It's the other role and purpose. It is not the role and purpose in the script. If you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to post it in band. but it's the other role and purpose. This role and purpose is just explaining what's about to happen, right? Because have y'all ever written a policy or started writing a policy, should I say, and all of a sudden they don't want to give you bank information? Or all of a sudden they don't want to finish the appointment? Or they say, hey, we don't make decisions today, right? Or no, we're gonna think about it because right, I didn't know we were writing a policy today. Y'all want to know why? Because you didn't tell them at the beginning of the appointment, right? They didn't know what to expect. Think about it. We called them, and we told them we're going to run an appointment. It's going to take about 10, 15 minutes, right? Or if you tell them whatever time you told them, but you just told them you're going to go over options. You have never told them up until this point, you are writing a policy and you're going to get bank information. So making sure you know your other role and purpose, and it sounds just like this. So Amber, let me just go over my role and purpose. My job today is to simply find you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of premium. How I do that, Amber, is I work with all the insurance companies that do the mortgage protection. So what I'm going to do in our appointment today is I'm just simply going to go over and find out if you have any health conditions. I'm going to go over your budget a little bit, Amber. It's not to be nosy. It's just to see if you even need coverage. I do speak to some families that don't need the coverage, right? Some of them have $1 million in the bank account or a rich uncle, ha, 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 right? And normally not the case. And they're like, yeah, we don't have a rich uncle. I don't have $1 million bucks. I'm like, sweet. That's pretty common, Amber. What I'll do is I'll show you what I see other families do, right? If you like any of those options, my job today is just to simply fill out the application for you online. It's normally going to give me an instant decision, Amber. That means you're covered as of today. If not, it takes a day or two to get approved. But once they approve, they draft out of your account and you got coverage in place. That sound good?
Sounds good.
Everyone says yes. Do not be afraid. And it's posture. Do not make the role and purpose sound like questions, right? And if you like any of the options, we'll fill out an application, right? No, okay. If you like any of those options, right? Because normally we don't have $1 million in a rich uncle. Do you have any of those? No. Neither do I. I'm still waiting on mine. I probably should buy lottery tickets. That might help. Yep, I don't buy any either. I'm never going to hit it like that. I know. So normally that's the case. So we usually find a need for the mortgage protection. They're like, yeah, that sounds like us. Sweet. So what I do is I'll just normally show you what I see other families do. If you like any of those options, you'll be able to pick several of them. I fill out the application for you. It's going to give you an instant decision, right? That means you're covered as of today. Once that happens, they draft out of your account and they'll mail you a policy. That sound great? Yep, let's go through it. It's explaining. There's a lot of science, and I love to talk about this because if you try to change that role and purpose, it's going to hurt you, okay? There's a lot of science. It takes you out of it. It puts them in herd mentality. So I'll start from the beginning of the role and purpose. At the very beginning, right, I'm telling them I'm shopping around so they don't have to sit with other agents. I work with all the insurance carriers. My job is to find you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of premium. My job is not to pay off your full house, right? Because we do a lot of critical period, monthly payments, whatever it may be. My job is not to pay off your mortgage. My job is to find you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of premium. That's my job. Then, right, we're going to put them into herd mentality and the need. My job is to ask you health conditions so that they're not surprised. You ever get a pushback? Well, why do you need to know all this? Why are you asking me about this? Why? Tell them at the beginning, I'm going to ask you some health conditions. I'm going to go over your budget, not to be nosy, just to see if you even need it. I'm taking it away from them. Some families don't need it. I've had like 3 or 4 people tell me, well, I do have $1 million in the bank account. I could pay off my house cash right now. I'm like, sweet. So you're probably not going to need this. If you want to move forward, right, I'll show you some options, but this is going to be more of a luxury at this point for you. Guess what? They still let me run the appointment, right? But take it away from them, right? Your job is not to sell, right? Your job is to find out if they even need it. Not everyone needs mortgage protection, right? Mortgage protection is simply to protect the home if one or the other passes away and they're not financially ready for that. That's the only reason somebody needs mortgage protection. Then I tell them, right? Normally that's not the case. I'm going to show you what I see other families do. I don't tell them I'm going to show you what I think is best for you. I take myself out of it and I put them in herd mentality. what other people do, right? My last couple of families, they did all four. They love to hear that. In fact, I love to be late to an appointment. I almost do it every single time. I'm late to all my appointments just about, because I tell them I was in my last appointment and I just helped the family and they got all coverage and it's all approved. They're like, oh, sweet. Well, you think we'll get us approved? I'm like, well, that's my job. We're going to find out. They want to do what other families do, right? So I put them in herd mentality. Then I tell them I'm going to show you what other families do. You'll be able to pick several of them. And my job is to fill out the application today. That means now they're thinking, oh, I'm going to pick several policies, not just one. And we're filling out the application today online. And then, right, normally it's going to give you an instant approval. And that means they're going to draft out of your bank account today. So now they know they're giving me bank information and we're going to pull money. Okay. Once you do that, I promise you right there, that's the sell. If you're going past that, you should assume almost every single time you're getting a yes, you should be blown away, right, that you don't get a yes. So we're going to go quicker because I don't want to run out of time. But that's the other role and purpose, and we're going to post that in band for you all as well. Number 4 is very simple. I don't have to dig into this. Use the real script. You're 8 pages away from 100K a year. I promise. Stop resisting it. Stop pushing it away. There's a ton of science in the real script, and it goes through absolutely everything. You can get this. If you don't have it, find it, get with your upline. It's in Quality HQ, but you need to go through every single thing in here and just read it word for word until you are very comfortable with it. I've been doing this for 7 years. I can take it all out of order and I hit every single key inside of it. That allows you to be super liquid or fluid in the appointment, right? Based on their conversation, and control it. But if you're brand new, just read it word for word. I promise you, some of the best appointments we would hear, James, right? It's just like, man, that sounded amazing. I'm like, yeah, he just read the script. The script does everything that we're about to tell you. So number 4 is just follow the real script. Number 5 is the FIF, right? We've pulled that up for you. I would fill out, if you're brand new, I would fill out the FIF form inside of HQ. Amber, if you want to pull that up and share it, right? You could pull up your lead and just go through all their finances. This is how you diagnose if they need it. This is how, no matter what, you know, and they now know they need coverage, right? So FIF, financial information form, you click on it and it's going to pull it up. You can pull up any lead that's in your system, or you can add a new referral if it's a warm market. But it's going to go through everything, their mortgage, their expenses. We've done this before, right? Just make sure you're doing this. What I love is it shows that total right there. And I love to distance. So when I get to the husband and wife and I'm like, look, if John's gone and I delete his income, it shows a big old negative. And I love to say, hey, have y'all thought about this? Do y'all have anything in place? And you can stop sharing now, right? And I say, hey, do you have anything in place to solve this right here? And they're like, and then I just get quiet, right? Because I made sure I did my financial information. On the financial information, one thing I would write down is ask, how much are they putting into savings? How much are you putting into savings a month, right? After their budget? Because that's a great indicator of how much insurance they can afford. Okay, because putting money in your bank, if you're putting 200, so mostly I hear about 300 to 500. That allows me about half of that. I can go write a policy on that. That's what I hear, because $200 or $100 in the bank does nothing for them. In 12 months, it's only $1,200 versus this policy for $150 protects their entire mortgage, right? Or it makes sure that she doesn't lose the home because we get her 12 months worth of mortgage payments. Leverage that savings account. That savings account for me is gold. If they're saving money, right, I'm more concerned when I don't have a savings account, because it's like, that's going to be a tough one. But when I got a savings account, we're writing a policy, because I'm going to teach them, stop putting it in your bank account, put it into this policy. There is nothing that's going to give you returns like this. It's the whole point of life insurance. So the next one, number 6, right, is the why and the emotional question. We have a whole call on this, right? Again, we're not going to go through everything, but the emotional question, once you've shown them that, right, and we've gone through the FIF, I get to say, right, like, hey, Amber, so, right, we take John's income away. What do y'all have in place to protect you in the home? Quiet. And you want emotional questions? That's what she brought up right now. There's questions already designed for you. And in fact, there's questions for single people with kids as a beneficiary, and there's questions in there for couples.
And that's page 5 of the real script.
Page 5 of the real script. Again, they've thought of everything for us. But you got to, so that emotional question, you should hear this after that question. Well, Joe, that's why we're here today. We need to fix that. Great. Do you want me to show you? And I ask, right? Because I want to, at that point, that should be the 30-minute mark or about 25 minutes of your appointment. And right there, I can get off the phone because they don't want it. They're like, yeah, Joe, we're just not really, based on what we see, we're okay. I don't think we need coverage. Great. I don't need to show them options. I'm wasting my time, I promise you. Because if you're not hearing this, well, Joe, that's why we're sitting with you, because that's a problem with me. Oh, okay. So it sounds like we should put some coverage in place today. Yeah. I mean, if it's within our budget, we went through your budget. I have options for you that are going to fit it. Great. Explain that to me. I'm writing a policy right there, 30 minutes. You should not run a 45 or an hour-long appointment to find out yes or no. 30 minutes. You should run through your real script in 25 to 30 minutes. That's where you get your yes or no or to continue with options. That way you can go on to the next one. Nothing's going to change after that. I promise you. You have asked the emotional question. The next thing is just, do they even want it? And then it's your job to fit their budget. So the next one, right, is number 7. And this is the visual options. So if you're reading the real script, it makes them pull out a pen and write them down. That's what I do. I'm like, hey, I need you to grab a pen and paper. I'm going to go over options for you. So I follow that real script like that. And I'm like, so I need you to write down John on your side and then Amber on your side. And I'm going to go over some options. And then I start explaining the mortgage, I call it, right, mortgage protection through an accidental. Write this down. 400,000 is $20, 300,000 is 19, right? Whatever it may be. And then for Mary, it's this. Okay. And remember, that's the mortgage protection through an accidental. If you pass away of an accident, that one's going to pay off. The next one is going to be the mortgage protection that's going to have the living benefits. It's going to pay off, right? And I'm going and I'm making it right down. So we're going to do 300,000. That'll pay the entire mortgage. That one's 1432, whatever it is, right? I have them write it down so that they can look at it. They got to have visual options. If you're using slides, make sure, right, you show your presentation, and super simple. Don't write living promise. Don't write terms, right? They just need to know how much coverage, how much it is a month. Very simple visual, right? Don't overcomplicate it. You should always show 2 accidental options. And then you should show 3 mortgage protection options, right? Or equity protection. So each person should have 5 choices. That way they can pick 4 applications. So when I'm done with the appointment or when I'm done showing options, they're like, well, Joe, I want the 500 accidental, and then I want the full mortgage payoff, and let's do half for her. I'm like, sweet. So all 4 of those are $250. Is that right? Yep. I'm writing 4 policies.
I have a question real quick.
Yep.
When you're showing the accidental with these, you're already adding up those prices and showing them, right?
I don't add them up. I have them all separate, right? Because I'm going to show them 2 accidentals, right? So when they write it down, right, you're going to look at my chicken scratch. Let me see if I got it. Oh, yeah, there you go. James will share, right? So they're seeing this, right? And I don't add it up because I tell them to mix and match, right? Sometimes the husband gets more, the wife gets less. Sometimes the wife gets more because the husband has coverage already, right? So I leverage everything through there, and then they just pick what they want and I add it up for them.
Okay. I haven't had consistency with this, but I'm going to go back to doing this. And
this is 4 applications in your appointments, I promise you. Do it like this so that they can pick and choose their options.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yep. Right. And then so the next one is number 8. Look, you've gotten this far. You need to assume the sale. Okay. They want this coverage. If they didn't want this coverage, they would not sit through this presentation. They would have already hinted that they don't want this. And you just need to be okay with that. Right. So if you're getting hints, right, like, well, I hear anything like that, I'm real quick. I'm like, hey, Amber, I just want to make sure, is this something y'all wanted to move forward or look at? Right there, they're like, well, no, Joe, we really just don't care. Sweet, no worries. My job is just to go over this for you. Yeah, Joe, it's just not for us, not right now. Great. I'm ending the appointment. Do not waste your time. If you do a great job, I don't feel bad at all. I know I do a great job of explaining how this works. I have done their financial information form. I know their finances probably better than they ever have because no one has ever done this. How many of y'all have ever sat down with your spouse, looked at all your bills, what's going out, what's coming in, and if one of you are gone, you have something in place? At least
You
until
get
I
a,
came into this industry, I had never done that.
they have I and you're doing a good job when the clients say, let me know what that in number is so I could write it down.
They're like, we've never done this, Joe. I'm like, great. I get that so much. I go, that's the weird part about this, but that's why I always say, right, we're not being nosy. We just want to see if you even need this. And then I tell them, hey, so based on your home, James, looks like you need this, right? And so correct me, I'm going to review this, right? And I'm like, so y'all are bringing in 10,000 together. Expenses are 6,000. James, you bring in 7. Mary brings in 3. James, none of your income, if you pass away tomorrow, goes to Mary. No, it's because of work. Okay, great. So Mary, what do you, right? And y'all only have 4,000 in your bank account. So that's 1 month's worth of bill, or a little under the month's worth of bills. So Mary, what do you have in place right now that'll help you with that? And do not talk. They're like, man, nothing. How does that make you feel, Mary? Like I did poor planning. I'm like, no. Everyone's like this, Mary. That's why we have this conversation so I can help you. They're like, thanks, Joe. How can you help? And then I still dig. John, how does that make you feel? He's like, damn, Joe, never even took time to do this. Thank you. Absolutely. That's my job, right? We're getting policies. And then assuming the sell right here is really important. If you have any hint of you don't think you're getting an app, you need to call your upline. That is a must. You are dropping the ball. We write way too many applications for you not to write an application. Call your upline in the appointment. If you don't, Brooke does great at this. If she hints or she feels she's not getting an app, she's calling us instantly. And it's very simple. Hey, Tina, I want to make sure I have the right options for you. I'm just going to review this with my manager real quick. I'm going to mute myself and just call him and ask him, make sure I got everything right. And then Amber or Brooke will call, and we call each other. I call James, and still to this day, I call them when I feel I'm in trouble. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on, right? I think this is option. This is what they've told me. Because sometimes I forget, right? I'm nervous in the appointment, or they've got me some feeling, right? Whatever way. And then I'm just like, hey, Amber or James can usually hear me. And he's like, hey, you need to tell them this. I'm like, oh, yeah, good. And then I unmute. I'm like, hey, yeah, I was just reviewing with my manager. I'm like, he also told me to let you know, right? And whatever. And all of a sudden we're writing apps.
You can say one word, Joe, and one word, and they have more trust because you went out of your way to help them on like a make.
It's crazy, right? You can send your Zoom link, they can hop in, they can call you over the phone, you can put them on speaker, all kinds of ways. There is no rules, right? But your client loves that other agents, and more than importantly, your manager helped with their case to make sure it was the best option for them. So if you are not writing an application and you didn't call your upline, I'm telling you that's a big mistake too. You are leaving money on the table. If you want to close like Elijah, James, Amber, us, right? Well, guess what? Use us. We want to help you write every single application, right? Make sure you're leveraging your upline, right? Now you got to be respectful. You got to know they got to know you're in an appointment, right? Don't randomly call Amber and say, hey, I'm in my appointment real quick, or don't get upset that she didn't answer the phone, right? Well, guess what? She didn't know you were in an appointment, right? So let them know, hey, I'm about to jump in an appointment, because maybe she's in an appointment. And what she's going to do is like, hey, I'm going to be in an appointment as well. They already confirmed. I'm going to let James know that if you call, he can help, or me, right? So within your teams, we have people like that are ready to jump on a call and help you, or ready to receive a text message. Do not try to do this by yourself. There's too many people writing an insane amount of business for you to try to run appointments by yourself. That is just a you feeling. I promise you. We are here to help. We want to help you run an appointment. The next one, number 9, is lock it down. Lock this puppy down. There's other people doing this. Other agents are going to come up behind you and sell them. You ever get a random call? Hey, we're just going to cancel that policy. They didn't just want to cancel. Somebody came in behind you and sold them. Okay.
Lock it down so they call you too, because
Yep.
I just today had a guy who called Americo to up and increase his coverage instead of calling me because he thought I worked with Americo and I never specified you call
Yep.
me.
So
So
I love that, right? We're going to dig into that, right? So the lockdown is they call you no matter what. Again, I am not scared for my client to call me. When they call me, they usually telling me a joke too. They're like, huh, some guy just called me, Joe, and they were trying to tell me that they have some other policy. I told them, nope, you already took care of me. I'm like, man, they crazy. And they're just laughing their butts off. They're like, yeah, I told them I'm handled. Don't worry. I didn't want to hear it. And then they got rude, Joe. So I hung up. I'm like, sweet. They keep doing that, right? But a lockdown sounds like this. Amber, I just want to make sure you review what they got coverage. Amber, right? So we got the 250,000 of coverage. If you pass away, it's going to pay that to your husband, right? If you get sick, it's 160,000 of living benefits. We also got the $200,000 accidental. So if you pass of an accident, they both pay out. That'll be 400,000 to your husband, and then identical to him on his side, right? Total a month, it's going to be $250 between all 4 policies. You'll see 2 payments from Mutual of Omaha, 2 payments from Americo. All of that's going to be, looks like on the 15th, right? Or the same day they draft every single month. Does that make sense, Amber?
Yeah.
We know what we got in place. Great. Now I'm going to lock this puppy down. The next steps, Amber, is you're going to get a couple of emails. They're going to be emails of the applications we filled out. They're going to be logins to each application. You can go in there and change stuff if you want, right? This is what Brooke was talking about. You can go in there and change things, bank information, whatever you like. But remember, you can always call me and I can help. I am your agent. That is my job. I can always service your policy. Okay. Next thing is, right, I'm going to put a stop to those letters, right? Takes a couple of weeks, but I'm going to put a stop to those letters. So you'll still get them, but I'm going to put a stop to them. So if you get any more, throw them, rip them and throw them away. They're like, thank God, Joe, we get so many letters. I'm like, yeah, just throw them all away. And if anyone else calls you, you can just let them know Joe already helped you. You got your policies in place. Just let them know and they'll be cool. They're like, they're going to know you. I'm like, if they don't, then they're probably a scammer.
Yeah, I took that joke from James, right? If somebody calls you, talks about this coverage and you tell them my name and they don't know me, probably shouldn't be working with them.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like,
right. And if they tell you anything you don't like or something, or even something you don't understand, feel free to call me and I'll be able to answer that for you. Right. And then the next thing, right, is I also work off of referrals, right? We are also hiring, right? And
the 5 R's.
Right? The 5 R's, right? If you know anyone that's looking for a job, right? But I also work, and so I'll go from the beginning, right? So, hey, and then also, right, I do work off of referrals. If you know anyone, your brother, sister, right? I do everything in the life insurance realm. I help with retirements. You did say you had your 401k that's just sitting there. I can help with that if you want to book that next, right? If you know anyone that's looking for a job, we are virtual. We are hiring right now. Right? If y'all did have those kids or y'all had those 2 kids, if they don't have a policy, I'd love to look at it for free and I get to, right, maybe get them some options, right? I know yours was a little bit pricier because we're 65 and they're like, yeah, I should have done this in my 30s. Well, let's help your kids do that now. What are their names? What are their phone numbers, right? The next one, right, is the recruit, right? Again, we're hiring, making sure if you need anything there, right? And then I know you said you had that other policy, right, from whatever. Did you want me to look at that to see if it's the best option still for you? Because again, I do everything. Maybe I can find you some better options. Right? I'm tying that puppy down. When they call me, I am not scared. I'm excited. They're either giving me a referral. In fact, twice live on Zoom, my clients have called me back and say, hey, Joe, we want to work for you. Live in Zoom. They have answered because I was trying to prove a point, like they either want coverage or something. And sure enough, they both said, in fact, one went to conference in Tennessee. I am not afraid when they call me because I do the best that I can in my appointment. Now, am I perfect? Absolutely not. This is just a really good checklist, right? Of are you hitting all 10 of these things?
And just to
If you're-
recap the 5 R's, right? In case anyone missed them, that's referrals, resets, replacement, rugrats, and recruit.
And Rugrats is kids, right? Again, if you just make sure you're hitting all 10 of these things, you are going to have the highest close rate possible. Anytime you're missing them, you're right. Don't be surprised, right? So your job is just to basically, this is your checklist of, am I doing every single thing to have the highest close rate and help a family? So I hope that helped y'all a lot. Again, we'll post the other role and purpose in band. You should have your real script printed out in front of you. You should be reading it word for, stop winging it. What if I told you, Tina, you can make $200,000 as an agent here? All you have to do is read 8 pages every single appointment, because that's the reality that we have here. And think about this. How many of y'all know the real script, right? We won't call anyone out. But if you don't know your real script, that's probably why you're not making that kind of money, right? So I love y'all. I hope that helps a lot. If any of this, right, helps, please post and band, and we'll see y'all on the next one.